So the Newgate is an interesting intro hook, to say the least. We see plenty of anime where, like, the death game style situations where it's like, oh, we play a game, trapped in the game, can't log out, die in the game, die in real life, right? That's pretty much what the main character Shin went through, but for the viewer, we don't get that at all. The first 2 minutes of this episode are basically, hey, this is the lore, this is the intro. Basically, I was living SAO, and we beat the game, so everyone logged out. 10,000 players or something, right? Boy stays behind, make sure everyone logs out before he does. All's well that ends well. Nope, actually it's more like Overlord than anything. For him, he lived through SAO only to then start living through Overlord. And Overlord, if you've never watched the anime, recommend it, it's fantastic. Playing a game, log out button disappears, and then that world becomes reality. So the NPCs, the stories and stuff, it all exists as if when you were playing it, but now this is all real. The MC is actually self-aware, like not to the point that it's obnoxious or he's revolutionary, but there's a few moments in this first episode that actually had me saying, okay, I'm ready to like meme this, like, oh, it's like, oh, it starts like SAO and now he's in like an isekai style Overlord plot, and he pretty much says exactly that. Or just the idea that he gets called out for being an idiot because one of his coins is now worth like $1 bajillion, and he's willing to pay to deliver a message to one of his old traveling companions, aka an NPC, and he's like, I guess this type of idiot would do it. This isn't revolutionary. I'm not gonna say this is incredible, or amazing, or jaw-dropping. If I watch this whole thing, if episode 1's a good indication of what I got, I probably won't think about it come October of this year, but this was actually pretty fun. So, to answer the question, is the Newgate worth watching? It's kind of a twofold. If you're someone who likes isekai trash like myself, you'll have fun with it. But if you're the type of person who's very picky, I do think it's worth giving a shot, but I wouldn't be shocked if many people say it's not for them. That's the best way to put it. For me, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed the MC, and I do think it's kind of interesting having an MC have an SAO-style plot, trapped in the game, was literally a death game, that got completed, but for the viewer, we start at the end of that, and now we're in this isekai Overlord-style plot where he can't log out, and he's now 500 years into the future of what the game was. And what's interesting is all of his things kind of like got inflated. It's kind of like inflation, but he got sped up. All of his stats, he mentions it when he first gets like thrown into like the isekai style version of the game. He's like, holy shit, all my stats are way higher. I didn't think anything of it initially until the currency. So his currency, which used to be just normal currency back in the day, because it's now 500 years in the future, like it's worth way more. He's basically He's a long, like, from the game's perspective, from these NPCs' perspectives who are now real, like, he's a part of a race that went extinct because 10,000 humans just randomly disappeared one day. It's actually kind of clever. Not saying it's revolutionary, but fuck it, I'm in. This was pretty fun. I have a full live reaction over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full uncut thoughts to the Newgate episode 1, it's over there if you're interested. So, overall, I don't think the production is anything insane. It's pretty average. I do think if you've recently saw anime like Shangri-La Frontier, you know what a really highly refined video game style anime looks like. This show doesn't compare to a show like that, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I actually kind of liked it in the initial part when he's like beating the game version of it, like the way the wing came up, the kind of digital effects. There's some good moments there, but it's not like the sharpest looking show, it's not the craziest looking show, but it's not bad, right? I just don't want people to be like, oh, you're saying that. It's like, no, like it's perfectly average visually without really missing a beat in the first episode. It doesn't do anything extraordinary, but what it does do is pretty fun nonetheless. And the idea of him walking to his old base, right? So we do get to see this when he was playing the game, right? He leaves behind a bunch of people. I thought those were players. Turns out they were NPCs, a part of the game. And the idea that, for one of the characters was an elf. We know elves can live thousands of years, so it's no surprise that she would still be around. A couple of them I'm questioning if they will still be around, and if not, if we're gonna go the route of like some of his old companions. They had kids, they had families, and maybe tales got passed down like, hey, if my master ever shows up, give him this. We could go down that route. But in general, it's actually kind of fun what they did with the initial hook. So we have a character with insane plot. I just see massive plot potential. Just fantastic. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, but seriously, like, I mean, character design aside, pretty interesting story. So she was cursed, she can't leave this barrier without monsters and shit attacking. And our boy cures her, kind of. Like, it seems like the curse is removed, but for some reason her full hair didn't come back. Just a very sweet, tender moment. And the idea that you just have this, it's such a simple scene on paper, but just the idea that, like, you know, she just got jumped because people were trying to find out information. Sure, you saved my life, but I can't just give information, like, where my master is. I can deliver a letter for like 1,000 of these currencies, and he basically drops like 1,000,000 gold coin, and she's like, what in the hell? In general, this is just fun. Like, I don't get the impression that the author of this source material was trying to reinvent the wheel. But I also get the impression that the author was competent enough to not make something so bad it's good, but just fairly decent and fun at the start. I like the trapped in the game, die in real life plot lines. I like the can't log out of the game plot lines. All that's fun, but it is kind of interesting when you combine the two of, like, imagine you're playing an SAO story and now you're like in an Overlord-s type story. Now, Overlord's a better anime. I'm not trying to say, you know, this is on the same level, but the coolest thing about a show like Overlord is the idea that, you know, you play this game and then you can't log out. It's now become world. Like, you're basically isekai'd into this, you know, concept, right? And the idea that, you know, all of the connections you have, like, they look at you as if you've always been there, but for you, you're like, that used to be a game character. That used to be just something that wasn't real, but now I have to treat it as such. That is an interesting story, and you don't see it that often. I mean, you do see it, but not to the same degree as just your generic, I'm now in a new world sort of a thing. And I kind of like the idea of what they're going for, because I think there is actually some potential for some interesting stories. I was losing it at the end, so he kills this giant skeleton monster, and the sword of said monster goes flying like a boomerang, and I'm like, oh man. I'm cracking jokes thinking, oh man, little Johnny's gonna be looking up in the sky, be like, hey mom, what's this? And then get skewered. I thought he killed the king. I 100% did, because everyone's freaking out. It broke through the window, and I'm like, you got it. Like, I was ready for a dark twist. Luckily, seemingly no, just crashed through, but still, things are gonna start being a little more suspicious. But I do like the little details, like he got a letter of introduction, so it allows him to bypass the line. He can have a meeting with the king if he wants. But then when it came to the guild leader, you know, he actually had to study to make sure it wasn't a fake. They both react if they're the same. But he points out, like, hey, if you can't protect this letter, like, this is like the most valuable thing you could probably have. Destroy it, because if the wrong person had this, they have access to a lot of dangerous things. They would have a one-way ticket to go kill the king, as an example. There is some details that actually had me impressed. The thing that actually sells me on this is I didn't come out to look at Shin as being an annoying cringe lord or edge lord or weak little boy. In general, he felt pretty normal. Like, he lived through a death game, probably was a good leader by what we got a glimpse of, and now he's a part of this. Like, he realizes and can meme the idea of isekai. He can recognize, like, yeah, I'm probably giving you a retirement fund to deliver a letter. Probably does seem stupid, but it's all I got. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm too nice. Shoot me. He's self-aware without being an idiot or just a pushover, you know what I mean? Like, there's something fun about him, and yeah, fuck it, I'm in. I'll watch more. Call me isekai trash all you want, but this is far from being like a cell phone in another world style show, and I'll die on that hill. But either way, let me know what you thought if you checked out episode 1, and are you going to watch episode 2? I definitely am, but let me know how you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Dreadseed, Jacob Winslow, Miguel Francis, Dark Lord Dashi, Kim Andre Olsen, and Gavin Lee. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.